Janet Wangari is an ICF accredited career executive and leadership coach. She is a learning and leadership development practitioner with almost a decade of experience in delivering highly impactful leadership and learning development programs. She currently serves as a global leadership and learning specialist, where she oversees leadership and learning development programs across 12 countries, Asia, Latin America, Middle East, and Africa. Janet's expertise spans from talent development, career coaching, succession planning, and organizational development, providing organizations with a culture of continuous leadership growth. She has successfully developed leadership programs globally, ensuring leaders acquire the skills, competencies, and aptitudes necessary for a rapidly evolving workplace. As an executive coach, Janet has served as a panel coach for leadership development programs, developing impactful leaders across Africa. Janet is passionate about empowering leaders and driving positive organizational change through innovative coaching and development strategies. Janet believes that all professionals should have an opportunity to meaningful and fulfilling work. Let us put our hands together as we bring to the platform Janet Wangari Kariuki. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Dottie. I felt like I should have walked slower, just seize the moment and feel good about it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. I'm turning older, and the more I turn older, I realize how precious time is. And you've chosen these hours of your life to share it with us. There is the greatest honor that nothing can buy. So we are very privileged to have you with us today. So thank you, and let's enjoy the conversation. So I want to talk a bit about my journey. And in terms of what I've thought, I thought about what do I write. And I was compelled to write about how I came to be here today. What tools, what has brought me here? And I thought about our careers. And I think about careers every single day. And every single day I think about how it's no longer a ladder, how it's more like a maze, in and out, the bamboo forest, that kind of a maze, that dots make more sense when you look backwards. And in our career journey, we are able to have conversations, have to increase. And you see, when I got approached to be part of this project, I didn't think I always knew I had a story somehow deep within me, but I didn't know if it was time to share it. At first, I thought of sharing it. Let me share it when I'm done with my master's. I started my career far, and I thought, let me share it when I've acquired this title. Let me share it when I've done this. I kept on moving the goalpost. And maybe the question I ask you, what do you want to share? And what goalpost are you moving so that you don't share? So the best thing is to share afraid and keep sharing. So I want to talk about how you see yourself differently in every phase of your life. How do you reflect upon how you've come this far? And one desire that I had, and I shared with one of my mentors, was I wanted time, money, freedom. Time, money, freedom. I no longer wanted to ride and get stuck in traffic. And I was in that, but I wanted to change. And if you look at my chapter on page 82, yes, when you look at page 166, you see that I had a vision, and it was very vivid, but it was unanchored to my current circumstances. My dream was so clear, but it was not reflective of where I was at that time. Because what manifestation and dreaming comes to is having a dream so big, so great, and sometimes not anchored in our reality. And those are the dreams you do not even have the energy to share because you wonder, they are scaring me. How dare I tell people who know my reality now? And they can't see what I see. They can't see where I want to go. So those are, as I grew through my career journey, those are the things I gathered in terms of I can see so great, but it does not even look like so if you look at me now. And it's true even now. I have dreams so great, and you can't even know because they don't look the way I look now. And as I came, I was once a high school teacher. And I taught for 6, 7, 8 years. I felt in a concrete box. And everybody tells you, oh, do you know teachers? Teachers. You know teachers, eh? You know teachers, right? Do you know teachers? Yes. And so nobody sees you beyond that box. Nobody sees beyond who they can see today. And I thought, anyway, education, they're great educators and they're fueled by it, but I wasn't. Every person I met, stranger or not, told me, you have greater potential. I can see you can go very far. And that word haunted me every day. I wondered, what is this far they're talking about? Even my high school desk mate told me that. And the fear, the worry is to go to the grave with that potential that everybody saw. So I keep asking, and maybe my invite as I talk about my article is this. Ask, what is that everyone is seeing? Please don't go with it. Leave it here. Let everybody experience it. And as I moved from my career journey and was looking into how do I change my career? How do I work in a job that I enjoy doing? And I have time, money, freedom. Time, money, freedom. I looked at my 6, 7 years experience. I learned how to write CVs. Every CV I wrote got me an interview. Every CV I wrote, I mastered it. But when I got to the interview room, I was told, they all saw what? They saw what? A teacher. They didn't see the potential. They didn't see what I could become. They didn't see what I was seeing in myself. So then I went back. And after so many experiences, interviews, I started to look internally. And I started seeing specks of gold, just tiny dust. You know, the Elijah story, the story of when he lifted his hands, I hope I'm saying Elijah's the light one. So when he was seeing his hands and praying, and he saw a speck of cloud. Was that the right prophet? Yes. So he saw a speck of cloud gathering from very far. But then, soon it became to be bigger. So I started to realize, what is this? And maybe my invite to you. You may be having, in my career coaching journey, I've met professionals. I've met senior bankers who want to be psychologists. I've met pilots who want to go rear chicken or something, There's that fire. There's those. And sometimes when you say that, I want to be a leader, I want to develop leaders. And they ask you, what experience do you have? I lead in my choir, Or I'm the woman's guild chair. They can't see that. But those are the specs you keep collecting. So then I wondered, what is it that makes me feel alive? And when I thought about that, I love talking to learners. I love talking to the youth about telling them about their potential. When I look into those gold dust, I could see a big gold. When I look into the specks, I could see a full picture. And I realized that's it. And so I kept looking and I realized I'm very good because I really didn't like preparing notes and explaining concepts in biology. I didn't like that. But I really enjoyed when I showed videos. I went online, I found interesting things. And over time, our principal realized she's very good in ICT. So what happened? I got a scholarship to South Korea to go learn ICT. And that led me to the next job. Imagine out of the whole 8 years of experience, what took you to the next level? And when I got to the next level, I looked around for the specks of gold. Then I had started to tune my eye to how to see specks. And then I went on my journey. And 5 years later, or 6, 7 years later, here I am. And what I work with professional and executive is to see specks, bring them together, be able to now sit back. The journey where Dosso found me is where I was sitting back, trying to look at the journey and try to polish it. Try to look at it in a polished way that I can curate for any professional and tell them, this is the journey you can go. And that is how I ended up as a coach. I remember I'll give you just one story, and I hope you keep me on time. I met one of the clients I was working with, and she had an MBA, she had a BCom, she was a CPA, but she was managing a garage, like where gari zinatengenezewa garage, yeah? When I talked to her, she couldn't even raise, so she was the accountant stroke, the financier, and making sure everybody else is paid, and herself is paid, which was not very successful often. And she gave me permission to share this. So, when you talk to her, her goal was to be to the UN. But then, she was so focused at it, at every work we did, all that we worked together. After 7 months, she got there. But at the 4th month, she called me, told me, are you sure? Are you sure this is where we are going? Are you sure we'll get there? All these regrets, are you sure? But then if you persist, when you take negativity or the negative feedback as feedback, not on you as a person, but on the product you're producing. And this takes me to one of the articles from Natalie on page 166, and it says, on page 80, sorry, I'm confusing the two. On page 82, it says, babies are not born walking or speaking. They learn through continuous failures, consistent practice. And below there it says, these days we seem to be more inclined to accept mistakes and failures to the point where we incorporate them, as we say, if you are going to fail fast, fail forward. We now acknowledge the value of mistakes and failures and the role in our evolution and growth. And as we write this book together and fix each other crowns and say, we keep failing, fail forward, it's not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of where you want, of the process and the lessons you need to learn. As I wind up, I'll say that, what was the lesson in terms of the whole journey? The lesson is, keep doing it, keep going, take feedback, go back, have very clear goal. Spend a lot of time reflecting. So when COVID came, we all went home. So when I went home, I got the opportunity to think. I realized I was in a so fast-paced environment. Now I had shifted careers a bit, right? So I was in a fast-paced environment, but I never stopped to think, and I never knew time to think was something. So COVID came, and we went home, and we got time to think. So in the time to think is when I reflected and found that the impact of where you're going, the clarity of your goal. And let me tell you, it doesn't have to be anchored to your reality today. It just has to be the burning desire. So over my journey, I've created How do we go about it? And I work every day with professionals, with managers, to try and bring them. You know, there's something I kept on saying, you're a business of one. Do you see yourself as an enterprise? If you are an employee, do you see yourself as an enterprise? Do you see the value you're bringing? Do you iterate? There's this book I told somebody about me thinking of myself as a business of one, and they talked to me about a book by the the founder of LinkedIn. They call The Business of You. Is it The Business of You? Yes. Yes, How to See Yourself as a Business of You. It's by the CEO, two co-authors, one of them the CEO of LinkedIn. And it is to shift your focus as a professional, as a leader. As you manage leaders, shift how you see them. Because then they're in your workplaces for shorter periods of time now. You need to think about that in that direction. And so when you read this book and these articles, you get to hear a bit more of this. And hear a bit of what we've thought about, what these amazing ladies have thought about, and the journeys they've taken to get them to here. And when you see them, know their dreams are bigger than you can even see and look at them. Thank you so much and have a great time.